Ahmad, and I'm going to represent Team 7 in our design phase 3 presentation. So what our product is called is the auto file, and what it does is that it's going to help consumers organize and keep their important documents in storage, and makes it easier for them to pull it out later on. So moving on. So during design phase 1, what we did was that we came up with a team goal and our mission statement. So from here on, we determined like what we want to do with our product, and we thought that we want students to have like an easier life on keeping their documents, keeping track of like where they keep them, and then making it easier for them to pull them back out. So then what we did was that to make it better for us to estimate like what kind of features consumers want right now in the market, what we did was we did an interview, and from this we can came up with a customer profile, and we can came up with customer needs, and we can from here on we can see which one is more frequent. So the more frequent one is like the one that we determine is the more important one, the more the features that the consumers want. And then from there on, we did a product specifications and a quality function deployment. So what this is that from all that interview that we did, as mentioned, we determine like which feature is wanted the most by the consumers. And from here on, we can see that mode of operation is the highest one, have the highest importance. So we determined that automation is the way to go. The consumers want automation. Automation is what we're going to give them. So here we have is the QFD. From here on, we can determine like which feature is easy to be implemented and which one is hard. So from here on, we have a general idea of like what is practical for our design. And then during design phase 2, what we did was that we did a functional decomposition. So what a functional decomposition is actually we determine like a pathway of what the product is going to follow on how to operate based on each sub-functions. So we can see here each box is representing a specific sub-function. And then moving on, what we did was that we did a concept generation process. We used the 3-2-1 method. So what we did was that each of the members is responsible to give out 2 ideas, and we would pass around that paper, and in the end we would obtain 18 unique ideas. And from there on, what we did was that we would use elimination methods to determine like which product is the best, which ideas of them all was the best. So using the screening table and the scoring tables, we eliminated all other ideas that we had, and we thought that the best possible solution was the automated cylindrical file, because it has like a nice form factor and it's easy to make and design. Alright, so now for the design phase 3 updates. So here what we did was that we actually looked up 5 different patterns we found online, and what we found that none of them match our design. Our design is a completely new design. Nobody else has made something like this, and we would say that there are no limitations to the design that we have right now. Alright, and then there are 4 potential failures that might affect our current product, but the most important one is being the storage compartments, because like there's a gap between the storage compartment between the floor and the spinning axle. So what we're afraid of that if like someone forgot to take off their paper clips, it might fall down and might damage the motor once the product is actually moving. So, and then moving on, we found out that the assembly time for the product was approximately 2 minutes, and the longest part was being to wire the motor to the Arduino, because we found out that our chassis is a bit small, and having for someone who have big hands, assembling this thing is going to be a chore. So in the future, we kept in mind that we might want to make like a modular wiring design, so it's going to be easy for people who have different shapes and sizes of their hands. Alright, so and then moving on, we actually initially during design phase 1 and 2, we estimated that our product is going to cost like about $45 to be exact. But once we did our prototype, we found out that the prototype itself costs around $55. So we estimate it's going to be somewhere around there. And then moving on, so this is the CAD drawing for our prototype. So as you can see here, this is where the file goes in. This is the bottom chassis that I mentioned just now. Alright, and then this is where we keep all the files. There's like a rotating compartment inside, which is going to rotate and like help you find the files that you want. Alright, so this is an orthographic drawing of how the design looks like. So this is our top view, this one is our front view, and this one is our side view. So you can see here that this is where, as I mentioned, where the paper will go in, and this is like the front side. So a keypad will be here. So on what type of like compartments that we want to choose. So we did this these two lines here so that it makes people easy for them to like determine like which side is the front and which side is the back. All right. So challenges that we found in our prototype is that the compartment parts, because we're making our prototype using cardboard, and we find it's really hard for us to get like the 60 angle compartments that we actually initially designed. So instead of going for the 60-degree angle design, what we did was that we simply like made a 4 compartment design which has like 90-degree angles instead. And we found out that because we want to implement the serial monitor in our product, so we found out that to be slightly challenging because for some reason this serial monitor is kind of inconsistent right now and somewhat unstable, but we managed to make it work. And then the hardest part was to attach the rotating axle to the servo motor, because like because it's in the middle, and because like it's holding like the compartment fins that separates each file. So we're afraid that once if we put it too hard, we push too hard, we might break the fins. But if we put it on an awkward angle, we might damage the servo motor. So moving on, a reflection for our product. We think that in the future we might want to make a design it's more slick. It might have like something that has more capacity, and something that maybe you want a stronger motor so that you can store more documents and important files inside. And then we want it to be more flexible to users. So we might want it to be like, we want to add a scan feature. You might want to add like a printing feature as well if we can. And then in the future we might consider like using a better mechanism. Well, there's nothing wrong with the mechanism we have right now, but we might want to implement gears or even a more silent motor. So implementing the different gears would allow us to have like higher torque in the motor. So this would make it possible for us to have like a higher load file. And then having a more silent motor will make people's life better, because there's no noise that's going to like disturb them when they're doing work. So with that, I conclude our design tree presentation. Thank you.